Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every day on the upper tier. If you could go out there, smash that subscribe button and bell notification, and of course, drop a like on the video to help us grow the channel. This is your Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Kind of a match reaction, kind of a player ratings, kind of an analysis of where Liverpool is at. This show I was supposed to do last night at 10 o'clock, but I didn't do it because of how boiled up and annoyed and how reactory I would have been at the time to what was an absolutely shambolic, stale performance from the Reds. Um, Finished 0-0, so no goals to talk about, not even a whole lot of chances really. But this was a significant game because this really showed us that where Klopp has been talking about, how a rebuild is going to happen and stuff like that. It's very clear that there's a lot of players here at Liverpool at the moment that are just checked out for the season, don't really give a shit about making top four because they're probably not going to be part of the furniture next season. And it's an interesting conundrum as well because when you look at the starting lineup last night, some of those players, maybe a lot of those players, are playing last night. Um, and it's a weird one as well for the gaffer as well because he doesn't get off on this one either. And the insulation around him at the moment that he's being afforded must be a little bit questionable at this stage. And that's not to say that I'm Klopp out or anything like that, but we do have to have a conversation. I mean, when Naby Keita is starting ahead of Stefan Bajcetic, um, we have to be a little bit concerned where Fabio Carvalho is not being used and has had some decisive moments this season for us, scoring against Man City, the late goal against Newcastle and stuff like that. And yet his contribution, involvement, opportunity has been absolutely cut off at the head. When we have the gaffer coming out in hindsight after the game, when it's too late, talking about Trent, and we're going to have a conversation, of course, about Trent, but talking about Trent, about this game was probably a game too far from that he was tired and not recognizing that beforehand um, is a little bit strange as well. And it's just the whole thing is just a big ball of weirdness at the moment. Um, Clearly, the team needs a massive overhaul. We started this season potentially needing one midfielder. As the season went on, and look, the injuries have been crazy. We're hearing now that Joe Gomez is injured. Darwin wasn't able to play, he was injured. So it's one step forward and then six steps back. And it's really, really frustrating. But it's just, when you look at the overall play last night, look, you look at James Milner in there. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to James Milner. From an energy point of view and for an effort point of view, you'd never fault the man. But he's just simply not good enough anymore. And I would say that about our whole midfield last night. Jordan Henderson um, clearly absolutely struggled with the game. And look, we thought we would have got a bit of a bounce back last night because these lads were absolutely woeful. The capitulation on Tuesday night against Real Madrid, probably one of the worst in the club's history. We thought these guys might come out with a bit of fire in their belly. An opportunity to go back into that top four race, put 3 points on the board early with Tottenham and Chelsea playing today. Would have inspired them to go on and do something. And I think I read a stat as well. It's the first time in 20 years or something like that Crystal Palace have kept a clean sheet against us at Sellers Park or something like that. Something weird stat. And I did say, I said it on Twitter even last night, that last season we broke so many records along the way, And this season, we're breaking so many records, but most of them are all the wrong records. And it's a really, really difficult situation in terms of trying to put your finger on what the issue is. But a lot of players right now look checked out, um, and certainly checked out, and certainly punishing this manager for his show of loyalty. How Naby Keita gets near the pitch, and I've been saying it for weeks. I don't know how Naby Keita is even in the squad. I'd have a youth player in the squad before I'd have Naby Keita there. The guy has checked out. He's an absolute bum. He has sold his club down the river. Yes, he has had injuries, but he has shown nothing in his term here at this club in real terms. What's he had? 5 moments in 5 years, probably. An absolute joke, and yet this guy starts. Shocking. How does this guy start ahead of Harvey Elliott, who's sitting on the bench? I do not know. Absolute poison. Jordan Henderson last night absolutely made a show of by Crystal Palace in terms of their energy. Got absolutely tapped up in the midfield. And I'm looking at Jordan Ayew, who at this stage must be about 106, ghosting past Jordan Henderson to the point where Jordan Henderson has to pull him down. I'm seeing Joel Matip, whose defensive qualities have left him, going in tight to players where his only answer is then to shove them to the ground or grapple them. I see Fabinho coming on, offering up absolutely nothing except wanting to kick players and push players on the ground. And to be honest, last night was lucky not to see a red. It's just so frustrating. And you see Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was at times absolutely sublime and brilliant going forward, but absolutely does not give a shit about getting back and defending. Does not care. As far as he's concerned, it's like as if he's trying to force the club's hand in this so-called move to midfield because he just simply doesn't want to defend. I seen him last night jogging back, and it was like that moment in Chariots of Fire when the lads are running and it's in slow motion. The ground was eating them up. There was times the ball was played by Crystal Palace into the left channel and there was no one there. There literally wasn't nearly a Liverpool player in the whole screen when you looked at it. And then eventually comes into the picture Trent Alexander-Arnold, cozy and jogging back like it's not his job or he doesn't give a shit. I didn't see any player last night putting in a shift in terms of a hunger to get back into a top four race. I didn't see any player trying to represent those fans that travelled all the way down to London to watch this game and probably spent a fortune to support their club. There was more energy from them yesterday in getting to the game than there was in the players who played the game. It's just, it's deplorable. You have Andy Robinson going forward with some nice attacking pieces, but no end product. So frustrating. Virgil van Dijk, a pale shadow of his former self. Just a wave of attack after attack after attack by Crystal Palace at times. And this is Crystal Palace, who also didn't have some main players on the pitch. MacArthur wasn't on the pitch. SA wasn't on the pitch. Zaha was missing. Imagine what Wilfred Zaha would have done there last night. And we were very, very, very lucky in the end to come away with a draw. And I've listened to players after the game tweeting out. James Milner tweeted out, keeping a clean sheet is really, really difficult and all. And we have the players up front to score goals and all this kind of thing. And the practical stuff that they're putting out there, and we go again. And, you hear all the cliches, if you can't support us when we're down, don't support us when we win, and all this kind of absolute garbage that you hear at times. I've supported this club for 37 years. Actually, it's wrong. I've supported this club for 42 years. And in that time, I've seen highs, and in that time, I've seen lows. And my support for this club is unwavering at any stage, even right now. But these players don't deserve at the moment to wear this badge. They don't deserve at the moment to pull on that jersey. Their abandonment of their manager is absolutely shocking for what he's done for those players. And when those players have been bad, he's batted for them. He's gone to bat for those players. He's taken on the responsibility of their absolute atrocious play at times. And it's very, very sad to see it. But the truth is, the mentality monsters are done, dusted, dead. The era of this team is over. And even if we make top four, this team, hopefully with the support that Jurgen Klopp needs financially, is going to look a very different team next season. And let's see if we make top four. My thoughts at the moment looking at that performance is no. I was hopeful that we might be able to do it. But this was Crystal Palace, and no disrespect to Crystal Palace, and Selhurst Park is a tough place to go. But you should figure out a way to get these things done. And we can't figure it out at the moment, and it's frustrating. Couple of comments. Acers. Liverpool today were absolutely shambolic, embarrassing performance from the whole team. Absolutely. And my man, Kyle Walsh Gunner, check out his channel, folks. Absolutely brilliant. Jesus, Niall, you were terrible again last night. Huge changes in the summer, mate. Absolutely. Shambolic we were. And it's significant in our play as well. If you look last night, the fear in which we're playing football is absolutely staggering. I mean, I've seen balls getting played out onto the right wing where no one being pressured. And instead of turning to try and pick a pass or find a pass in some sort of forward positive motion, they turn back into Van Dijk, back into Alisson, back out to Van Dijk, out to Robbo, back into Van Dijk, cross to John Matip, back out to Milner or whatever it was, or Naby Keita, back into Van Dijk. No one looking to take responsibility. Jordan Henderson, a pale shadow of himself, both in terms of his play and in terms of his captaincy. And it's just, it has spread across the whole pitch. Mo Salah, lots of energy running around, had that one good opportunity, but showed absolutely nothing. There's the mascot. How are you, kiddo? You all right? Say hello to everyone. Tell everyone you had your operation. You're looking good now, yeah? Now go on, sit down for a minute while I finish this. I'll be with you in a minute. But just absolutely deplorable. No confidence, a staleness to the game, stationary. Players not looking to move quick. Just so poor. Let's go through some of the ratings because I'm actually looking forward to some of the football today. I look at our performance last night, and today I have to potentially look at Man United lift the Carabao Cup. Imagine how we're feeling as Liverpool fans. Alisson, I gave a 6 today. He was much calmer than the Real Madrid game, but again, he lacked that kind of quick thinking at times. A lot of the long balls that he tried to hit, he overshot. Which was as much about the energy of the players on the pitch as it was about himself, really. But didn't have a whole lot to do. At times, Crystal Palace created moments, but a reasonably comfortable night for him. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Again, a bunch of defensive howlers. And they're not even defensive howlers because he's not even there. You know, that's the worst of it. Give him a 4 out of 10, and that's being generous. Forward play at times. Was unlucky with the free kick coming off Hendo's head. I have to say, it looked like it was going to go into the top corner for a worldie. And you can see the frustration in his head. He can't believe it. Like it's that free kick summed up where we're at as a team. Great free kick taken by the boy, hops off Henderson's head. And Trent is just looking, going. I'm sure they practice this on the training ground, stuff like that. And Trent, I'm sure, is looking, going, what are you even doing there? You know, weirdest thing ever. 4 out of 10. Joel Matip, 4 out of 10. Looked really, really uncomfortable against Palace's press. At times so tight instead of dropping off players to give them an opportunity to assess what was unfolding. Was too tight in the moment. Didn't have enough penetrating runs from. Never really got the ball forward at times. Never played some of those passes out from the back that we know from. Just a style performance in the boy. Virgil van Dijk, I gave a 5 to. At times was okay and stopped some counter attack from Palace. But just looked very, very nervy at times and all over the place. Lacking that kind of control and aura we expect from a centre-back who, dare I say, 8 months ago was regarded as one of the best centre-backs on the planet. So I'm going to let the mascot out. Going out. Now, Andy Robinson, 5 out of 10. Some nice overlapping runs from Robbo tonight, which I kind of expected with Milner being on that side and Diogo Jota on that side. If you can't do overlapping runs with those two boys, well, then you may throw your hat at it. I did say having Núñez over there at times makes it very difficult for overlapping runs with Núñez's speed, and creates kind of an imbalance on that side. But the crosses were just atrocious, absolutely atrocious. Jordan Henderson, 4 out of 10 again. Failed to assert himself on the game at all. Didn't control the midfield. Got bullied and hassled all the time. Showed absolutely no leadership qualities at all. At one stage was playing in about 10 different positions. Finding himself on various different places in the park. And again, if you want to sum up the situation with Jordan Henderson at the moment, you just look at Jordan Ayew sailing by him and having to be dragged down to be controlled. Says it all. Naby Keita is getting a 0 out of 10. I don't care. I don't care what anyone has to say about him. I don't give a shit about what moments he's given us in the past. That guy is poison and is negative and is a real hindrance to the team at the moment. And if the financial clout was there, and it should be there, that should be released now. Release him now and pay him up. And if you have to promote a midfielder from the youths, whatever you have to do, just get him out. He's just poison to the club now, right now. Done with Naby Keita. James Milner, 5 out of 10. You can never fail James Milner for effort or application. But just, it's too much for him now. It's just too much. Mo Salah, 6 out of 10. Being generous again. Had a few moments early on in the game and stuff, and few chances maybe in the second half and stuff like that, but you just never feel with Mo Salah at all last night that he was in the game. There was a lack of support from him when he picked up the ball. At times he was taking off the ball way too easy. 6 out of 10. Cody Gakpo still struggling to figure out that middle position that he's in at the moment. Give him a 5 out of 10 last night. Didn't get much out of the two boys at the back, and we know how strong Anderson was. He's just a pest and probably constantly in his ear and stuff like that. And even our movement at time for set pieces and corners and stuff like that, there's just no movement there. You know, it's all stationary. It's all easy to mark. Just a serious lack of energy and movement. Diogo Jota, 5 out of 10. Diogo would have had a bad night at the office, struggling to still find his form that he had pre-injury, buzzing around with plenty of energy and stuff like that, but little or no impact. Substitutes, Harvey Elliott on for Keita, basically at half time. Give Harvey a 6 out of 10. Brings the energy, but midfield is not for him. He's not a midfielder. He hasn't got the physicality to be a midfielder. And it's a shame we have to keep on pumping them in there and stuff like that. Harvey really needed to come on where he ended up in the game in that sort of left-hand frontal position. But putting them in midfield against the physicality of a Crystal Palace side who were already overrun on the midfield as it is was an absolute waste of time. There could have been better options than Harvey for Keita. Fabinho, 4 out of 10. This lad is coming on with absolutely no confidence. Is more concerned about kicking players and fouling players than he is about reading the game and stuff like that. This man has gone from he's gone from one of the best DMs in the world to one of the worst DMs in the world, and that's not a stretch in saying that. Roberto Firmino won for 71 for Jota. Gave Bobby a 5 out of 10. Nowhere to be seen in the box, and really didn't help in terms of coming deep either or anything like that in terms of the midfield. Matter of fact, I would argue that we got more overrun when Bobby came on. Stefan Bietic, absolutely shocking, and this is on the gaffer's plate. For him not to start that match last night, and for us to put out James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita is a damning statement on Jurgen Klopp. Came on 84 minutes for Gakpo. Again, I don't understand the change. It's absolutely shocking. I'm not going to give him a rating. People were going in on him a little bit after the Real game and stuff. That he's an 18-year-old kid who's been our shining light this season, and people feel they should go in on him and stuff like that. He's literally carrying Liverpool Football Club. An 18-year-old midfielder from the youths is carrying Liverpool Football Club. Says it all. Jurgen Klopp gets a 4 out of 10. Shocking from the gaffer last night as well. Substitutions were absolutely bizarre. Starting lineup was absolutely bizarre. And afterwards, he made some interesting comments in his post-match comments about how players were tired and the effect of the Real game and all this. And the question is, did you not know that beforehand? Did you not know that Trent Alexander-Arnold was tired beforehand? So it's just weird all round at the moment. Kyle's back in. Kyle, how are we, man? Niall, do you think Klopp will walk away, mate? I don't think he will walk away. I think the difficulty he has at the moment, Kyle, is he says he's determined to stay and rebuild the side. Again, the thing about it is, if Klopp was to go, even if it was a chance for him to resign and not necessarily be fired, we know what way it works. It would be very damning on FSG. Very, very damning on FSG. Now, don't get me wrong. Any other top-level manager on that kind of run would be sacked. But Liverpool is not a sacking club in terms of their managers. That's not how we do things. We do things a little bit differently. There is a certain massive level of loyalty there. And the question is, who would you bring in if you take him out, and where does he go, I feel they will give him the money in the summer. That will be the time where he might walk, because if they don't give him the level of financial support that he needs to rebuild this team, I think that's when he might walk, because he might turn around and go, look, you're giving me the money here to bring in 3 players and I need 7. And it's just not going to work. So they either get this financial investment that they need to support him in the summer, or they don't. And if they don't, then I think he might walk. But we shall see. But yeah, damning, like that selection last night was poor. But again, the problem that we have here at the moment, it's very clear. Like, if you look at that starting lineup last night, right? Let's look at it. Alisson nets, I don't think there's an issue. Matip will go. There's talk for people calling for Trent to be sold last night after the game. Naby Keita, let's go along the back line. Joe Matip out of there in the summer. Virgil, I would assume, will stay. Andy Robertson is fine. Milner gone. Hendo gone. Keita gone. So that whole midfield that's in there last night starting against Crystal Palace, likelihood will go. And they know it, and Klopp knows it, and he's expecting these guys to go out and put on a performance to catapult us into a top 4 race. Gone out the door. Mo Salah, there's talk of selling Mo Salah to use those funds to make way for players coming in. We've been linked with Federico Chiesa and various other targets like that, so that could happen. There is whispers that talks are being had with PSG and stuff like that about Mo Salah. Let's see, should we cash in on him? His form is very concerning. His stats are reasonable, but his form and his overall play is absolutely shocking. Cody Gakpo, of course, will stay. He's only new. He's in the door, but we're trying to figure out the best way to use him. But our hands are a little bit tied as to where we put him. Jota, I think, will be fine. Not so much as a starter, but more as a utility player. And we have to decide what we're going to do with Diogo Jota, because the likelihood is Luis Diaz is going to come back. Darwin Núñez is there. So we've a lot of left-sided guys there at the moment, very heavy there at that stage. So what do we do with that? Then you look at who came on last night. Let's start with the substitutions. Harvey coming on from Keita. They're going to have to figure out what they want to do with Harvey. He's clearly not a midfielder. And then he normally operates over on that left side as well. So that makes it 4. Fabinho, probably out of there in the summer, coming on for Trent. Fabinho on for Trent. Weird. Bobby Firmino coming on. He's probably not going to be there. He's out of there probably in the summer for Jota. Stefan Bietic is fine. He's the future of the club in terms of that midfield coming on for Gakpo. So, like, there's just so much stupid stuff going on at the moment. And it looks like a lot of these players are checked out because I don't know whether they've been told to go find a new club or whether they've been told they're not going to figure in the plans. But that was as bad an effort last night in terms of getting 3 points across the board as I've seen in a long time from a Liverpool side. So that's my thoughts. It's kind of not really a match reaction. It's kind of like the reaction after the match reaction, if you like. We gave you the player ratings there and stuff like that. Reds, we will be back and probably have a Wolves preview for you tomorrow. If we thought we had to ring the changes after the Real Madrid game, good Lord, we need to ring the changes. Maybe we should just promote the whole underage team, should we, and bring them all up. They seem to be flying at the moment. I think they scored 5 yesterday. A game where Ben Doak nearly had a hat-trick. Should Ben Doak be being brought into the team now for Wednesday against Wolves? Should we make wholesale changes now and show these boys that they are replaceable and stuff like that? Arthur Mello played as well. Should Arthur Mello be coming into the midfield now? You know, should Naby Keita even be on the bench? Frustrating, folks. Frustrating from a Red here who loves his team. But we will be back. You'll never walk alone. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your thoughts heading into the Wolves game. And can we still make top 4? Whose shoulders to blame for this one? Is it the players? Is it the gaffer? Is it a combination of the two? Let's see what happens this week, folks.